I'm just sitting on my back patio just trying to, I just finished reading the book and I wanted to talk to y'all about it. So, excuse the face, I'm sitting outside and it's hot as fuck out here. How'd it go from like, right from winter to summer? It feels like we went from like 40, 50 degree weather to like fucking, excuse my French, to like 80 degrees. Don't get me wrong, I love being out in the sun. I'm actually taking a few moments to do this and just do this video and just actually come out here and get about 15 minutes of sun to help my vitamin D, because I don't really like taking them pills, even though I do take the vitamin D pills. So anyway, y'all, I'm just sitting here. I know ain't nobody out here, but I wanted to talk about this book. It don't have to be live. Wanted to talk about this book where this little boy, up until he was age 10, he always thought he was white. So I just finished the book and it was one of the best books that I've ever read. This is actually the second time reading it. Here it is. It's called Life on the Color Line, and the author is Gregory Howard Williams. And it says, it's the true story of a white boy who discovered he was black. This story is absolutely phenomenal. It was good to me for a couple of reasons, and one was because oh, by the way, y'all like my new chair? Well, one was because it dealt with race relations in the 1950s, and they're similar to some of the topics that we deal with today, education and relationships between families. And then the big thing for me was the sports. I absolutely love that he talked about the sports, and he went to a big school here in the state, and they had a big time football program and basketball program, especially in the 50s and the 60s. So anyway, guys, I want to pose the question, how would you feel if you grew up for half of your life thinking you were one race but found out you were another race? It's kind of hard for a black person to say that, oh, a dark-skinned black person saying that, oh, I'm really white. It's kind of hard for us to do that. But a white person, a light-skinned white person, or a mixed one or biracial can actually pass. And this dude, up until he was 10 years old, lived in Virginia and lived his life as a white boy. Had their family had a business. His father was the one who had the black in him. His mother was coal black, blacker than me, like almost black like this shirt. And then his grandfather was white, a pure white man from Kentucky. I'm not sure how that relationship developed, but they ended up having his father, who was very fair skinned, but he had an olive tone to him, which a lot of Italians have that color skin. So a lot of people that passed back in the day, they said they were Italian, because people would question their dark skin. So anyway, I just wanted to ask y'all, how would y'all feel? I don't know how I would feel if I was dating someone and I think I'd still stay with them. I mean, because I'm not a colorist. I don't have problems with any of that, but I'd feel bad for them. And then, of course, his story, the fact that he went from this wealthy family or lifestyle where his father owned several businesses, not just one, but he had a couple of vices. One was drinking, excessive drinking, and the other one was gambling. So can you imagine what happened to their life when their parents broke up? And he ended up going back to Indiana and moving in with the black side of the family. But on the bus ride home, his father had to tell him something, both he and his younger brother. Keep in mind, they had two other siblings. The mother just tucked them in the dead of night and left these two with the father, which you can imagine how that impacted their lives. But they end up going from, like I said, this wealthy family to this abject poverty in the projects of Muncie, Indiana. And it ends up okay. The story ends up on a bright note, but they went through quite a bit. And then on top of that, the black side of the family didn't disown them at all. But the white side of the family, well, I'm not going to say that. They disowned them to a certain, they couldn't take care of them. They couldn't afford to take care of them, so this outside person came in who was also black, who didn't have any kids, and she raised them. But, long story short, one kid went this way, the other kid went that way. Success, failures, but it's a great story. But I think that this wasn't one of those situations where he was intentionally trying to pass. In fact, he got to a point where he just didn't want to deal with his white side of his family any longer, because for 10 years they didn't want to have anything to do with him when he was at his worst. I mean, he was a child. He was dependent on adults, and the adults weren't there for them, both of them. So anyway, guys, this is just I love to read. In addition to doing shoe reviews, in addition to doing tech reviews, I love to review. And I wanted you guys to just read this book and you'll appreciate it. Absolutely, I think you'll appreciate it. All the stories. He's a great storyteller. Gregory Williams is a great storyteller. So I don't want to give too much of the book away, but I gave you the overall theme. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. I'm on my back porch. We call it the patio. We usually sit back here and drink, which